Also, if you were actually funny, you would have taught a goose to goose step. It was a pug I taught to do it. Part of the joke were that Nazis considered themselves to be the master race, but pugs are a genetic abomination. This is wild. What a world we have. Where right now Seth Rogen is helping Count Dankula with his Nazi comedy. is helping his 2021. It's full of surprises. You know what? I'm gonna check this out for like 2 seconds. It could be totally a nothing burger, but apparently Seth Rogen is on a tear right now. Seth Rogen has been messaging YouTubers. This story seems too wild not to be real, but apparently Seth Rogen has been DMing Count Dankula. Yes, that Count Dankula.
I understand. I understand that showing the DMs to someone so that you can dunk on them is viewed as bad form in the YouTube sphere. It is a social faux pas within YouTube. But the man it involves is not a YouTuber. He doesn't make YouTube content at all. He's in fact a Hollywood A-lister with multiple awards and movies and probably hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, multiple mansions, an entire team of staff to trim his crap beard, all of those things. So if anything, I'm punching up. So it's absolutely fine. I've had a lot of people asking me about this, that yes, I did have a little bit of a beef with Seth Rogen, and it all stemmed from a tweet that he retweeted. Basically, people were calling for unity, after the election. Unity. We need unity. Right, and Seth retweeted it saying, who would want unity with fascists? When basically the calls for unity were with Trump supporters. But he just went,
yeah, no, he's not wrong. You are technically punching up. I mean, Seth Rogen is more famous and rich than Count Dankula. That is true.
Want unity with fascists. Everyone's a fascist. Yeah, he's one of those types. Everyone's a fascist. Like, my grand's fascist. My neighbour's fascist. My dog's fascist. My dog really is fascist, but you get the point, right? And all I did was, when he tweeted that out, I replied to it saying, what was it I said again? It was something along the lines of, good thing that's not what's being asked, but you knew that, right? Which I think was a completely normal reply. No one is actually asking for unity with fascists. The only reason people believe that is because they're idiots that believe that literally every single Trump supporter is a fascist, because they've drank the Kool-Aid, they're deep in the cult. Hey-ho, 2021, here we are, all these years later.
Deep in the cult, yeah, because it's those people who were storming the Capitol building. That's definitely the people who are on the side of cultish behavior, fearlessly following a leader that they think is some kind of a god man on earth.
And after I sent that reply, Seth Rogen appeared in my DMs, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like, oh shit.
I'ma keep it 100. I'm jealous. Seth Rogen doesn't follow me. I don't assume he has any idea who we are, and probably thinks we're ants. We're just ants to him, But as probably the most famous person out of Vancouver, the place where I broadcast this show from, it would be nice to get a DM. So I was thinking, maybe what I should do is start that arc we've been talking about, you've wanted for some time, the grift arc, where I do a full 180 and pivot right into conservative behavior, and then I just have to message Seth Rogen a couple times in a thread or two, and then just say something a little off color, and then that'll be my ticket in. And then when Seth Rogen messages me, I can be like, oh, the whole thing's it's a ruse. It's a ruse. It was for the memes. It was for the total 4chan. I just pulled that whole pipeline thing. Yeah. But no, it was for the lulz, bro. Just for the lulz. Can I be in your movies?
Seth Rogen has actually just appeared in my DMs, and I remember years ago, huge fan of Seth Rogen. Many a fun night sitting on the couch in my friend's flat, all of us all together, laughing, smoking weed, watching Pineapple Express or Zack and Miri Make a Porno, or watching...
You're listing like some of his shittier movies. Not even the cloud. Come on, super bad. It's always going to be super bad, you know? Super bad.
Super bad, you know, all those Seth Rogen classics.
Good timing.
Genuinely
nice.
Good and funny comedies. And now the guy who had entertained me so much, the guy that I thoroughly enjoyed, was now in my DMs. And I was happy about it, but little did I know. See how that whole don't meet your heroes thing? Because they just turn out to be elitist, smug pricks, right? That is...
Well, okay, now things are derailed. I see people defending Pineapple Express. They're like, Lance, how could you? I'll tell you this. Pineapple Express was an example of a trailer that I thought was absolutely hilarious. Like the trailer for Pineapple Express, just laughing my ass off. Then I watched the movie, and I had no idea the whole thing was going to derail into this ridiculous, like, action caper, all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. It was not as advertised. I didn't do it for me. Yeah, I don't know if that's a spicy take. I did not enjoy Pineapple Express. There you go. There's my spicy takes for the day.
Oh, that is exactly what happened here. Like, it was a case of, like, see, when I saw the tweets that he was making, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, he's a little bit annoying, you know, but I still have respect for the guy for all the laughs he gave me in the past. This conversation that we had completely took away all of that. I, in fact, do not like Seth Rogen at all now. It's like, I actually think he's a smug, elitist, rich dickhead. That's all he is. And you'll be able to see why I came to that conclusion during this chat. Hi, not sure who you are. That's a running theme with Seth. If you watch the way he acts on Twitter, he sort of has this whole, I'm a great big Hollywood A-lister. Millions of people have seen my movies. I don't know who you are, though, so you're not important.
Yeah, that's not how I read that at all. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I, for the most part, agree with a lot of what Count Dankula was saying at the start of this, because I would be really confused as to why Seth Rogen was messaging me. I'm like, whoa, okay. Hi, Seth Rogen, super famous multi-million-dollar actor Seth Rogen. But yeah, I'm not sure who you are is kind of normal. Although that is weird, Seth. What are you doing? I don't understand why these, like, super famous people do that. Ricky Gervais has the same problem. Like, these people who have nothing but infinite wealth could be doing, I'll be frank, a lot of good for the world. You could be doing a lot of good for the world, but yet you sit back and you're on your phones tweeting at randoms. And, like, at least Seth Rogen is, like, you know, going after Ted Cruz and going after some other people and being entertaining for the most part in his Twitter interactions. But Ricky Gervais, it's mostly, like, fighting people over turf shit. And why are you messaging, like, egg accounts, like people without profile pictures? And it's like user 5022102225. It's like, yeah, well, that's why they shouldn't compete in sports. I am the second gender, brah. Like, okay, great job, Ricky Gervais. Awesome. Good use of your time. Thank you. When's the next shitty series coming out on Netflix?
I've even got another example of this that I'll show you later. Hi, not sure who you are, but if you think I'm going to respond to you to give you public attention, you're sadly mistaken.
Hey, thanks,
I
comic
think
fan.
that's the
Welcome.
Hollywood equivalent of clout chaser. You're just a clout chaser. Yeah, I know, man. My budding career in Hollywood could have really used some Twitter beef with Seth Rogen. But who are you? Apparently his Google's broken. Seth Rogen doesn't know how to use Google. I mean, it literally says in my bio on Twitter that I'm the guy with the dog. Should have narrowed it down enough. And I said I was just...
Wait, that's not really a lot of information to go off. I'm a guy with a dog. Oh, okay, so you're the one who made that video where you trained your dog to be a Nazi, and then you got in a whole bunch of trouble, and then, of course, you were into this whole thing, and you're fighting for the free speech laws, and you're a big free speech advocate because of it, and you still block a lot of accounts, like you've blocked Social Justice Warrior, you know, not Social Justice Warrior, SJW Debates. Yeah, that's right. Jangle Science Lad. You blocked him. I'm upset about that. For a person who's got Speech God as his name on Twitter right now, why did you block Jangles? Because apparently they were going to have a meme war, and I want the meme war. I want to be there for the meme war, you know?
Calling out the hyperbole. That's all. I'm a YouTuber, but the thing that most people know me for is I'm the guy that taught my girlfriend's pug to Nazi salute to piss her off for a joke and got arrested for it. I spend most of my days now constantly getting called a fascist Nazi, even though I'm literally a member of the Libertarian Party. Just when I see fascist getting applied incorrectly, it annoys me. That was all. And that's something that bothers all of us. You know, if you go around calling everybody and their grandmother fascist. It muddies the water and makes it harder for people to identify who the actual fascists are. We are at a stage now where, remember back in like 2012, 2013, if a friend...
This doesn't seem weird at all, by the way, the fact that Count Dankula is in the middle of a debate with Seth Rogen online in That seems very 2021, you know, that this is happening behind the scenes. Like, all the wild stuff we see in the forefront, you know, the GameStop, the insurrection, stuff like that. That's just the generalness. There's still a lot of weird stuff happening in the background. Just remember that, all right? We're in the foreground of all this.
2020, in the 2021st year of our Lord, when someone goes, "Oh, that guy's a Nazi," your first response now is he really though? Which is not a good mindset to have. The fact that such claims can no longer not be trusted whatsoever, and people are now always skeptical of such claims. Thanks for that. That's where your hyperbole has gotten us. Well, what is happening in America is a literal attempt at fascism. It's not hyperbolic. Yeah, breaking into the Capitol in an orderly queue, shitting on a bunch of walls and stealing a podium, and then all leaving when you get bored. Yeah, that's an attempt at...
Didn't leave when they got bored. 5 people died, by the way. You're leaving that one out. That's a little wild. They were asking for the lives of several prominent congresswomen. Oh, let's not leave one thing out. The fact that they actually stopped democracy. They put a pause button on the next president. So that's kind of important too. I don't know, details.
I mean, that's what happened during the beer hall push. Hitler left when he was nicely asked. That's what happened. That's such a shame. We could have totally stopped Russia falling to communism if people during in 1917 just asked them to kindly leave the palace.
Why did you change gears there? We're talking about fascism, not communism.
If you could just kindly leave, please. If you could just leave the palace, please. Oh God, we could have saved millions of lives. Fucking hell. I don't for a second condone what happened in the Capitol, but it wasn't fascist. I spoke to a lot of people on the ground, and the main reason they were pissed off is
literally doing, I have a fascist friend. It's like, no, come on. I had people on the ground, all right? I asked them very nicely, is this fascism? And they said no. They said no. I was surprised to learn that because, again, you know, there was a lot of things that kind of hearkened to fascism, but no, it's hey, come on, this is from the horse's mouth.
Lockdowns destroying their livelihood and constant smears by the media calling them fascists. I have spoken to a few people on the ground there. One guy, he lost his bar. There was another guy that basically he lost his job. He couldn't get another job. He's got bills to pay. He's got a I was going to say he's got a mouth to feed. He's got child support payments to make.
Hilarious.
Because it turns out that even though places are like, oh, we won't collect your rent, we won't kick you out of your house, child support payments though, it doesn't matter about the lockdown. You still got to pay those. But yeah, and basically all the reasons, like, everyone that I spoke to, I didn't get a single person that says, we're going to overturn the election. If we go in and we shit on the walls, then that means that they'll go, oh man, look at all this poo on the walls.
This is ridiculous. Like, yeah, I'm sure you had a couple people you talked to who were just like, oh, no, everything was fine. We kind of just walked in, took some souvenirs, walked out. That was the whole thing. Yeah, that's the thing. When there's thousands and thousands of people, it's going to be a mash. It's going to be a mix match, you know, like a grab bag, if you will, of different individuals. There was MAGA Trumpers there. There was white nationalists there. There was the guy who was a literal Nazi wearing the Camp Auschwitz shirt. There were people with Confederate flags. There was a whole fuckload of racists, you know. There was mix, but hey, there was also some black people there, all right? There's some Latin people there. If nothing else, you could make an argument that perhaps those people justify the fact that it wasn't white supremacist in nature, or it wasn't fascist, or any of this kind of stuff. But yeah, details.
The vote doesn't count. We're just going to have to keep Trump now. we need another 4 years of Trump, because what are we supposed to do about it? There's too much poo on the walls. There's too much poo on the walls. We can't let Biden in. There's far too much poo on the walls. I'm pretty sure that's written in the law somewhere. Article 2, Section 5, Code Brown. If there is far too much poo on the walls, then the vote doesn't count. Clever. Legal eagles there.
I mean, you gotta watch, like, I'm hoping someone, we ran in such different circles. Like, okay, do you think he would be convinced if we were to show him the footage, say, of that area in the very center where there was a whole bunch of different people and they were actually talking about how they needed to form a new government? Like, I'll give it to you. The whole thing was not preordained and organized, as in they knew exactly what they were going to do once they sat and once they arrived, and they were going to suddenly be like, okay, now we are enacting stage 2 of the plan. We will now release the pipe bombs. You will now strap on, you will now take the prisoners, all that kind of stuff. No, it was a handful of people all mad. There was no cohesive leader, and all of them had a varying degree of ideas as to what was happening. And they genuinely thought in the midst of it, that they had taken over the government, that they were about to impose a new government for Trump, who was the rightful leader, the rightfully democratically elected leader of the United States, and because of that, he deserves to be put into place. That's what a lot of people thought. I mean, they're not alone on that. It's one of the bases for the impeachment trial right now.
I'm not saying there were not any far right there. There was, but they were a small amount of them. So to brand an entire protest based on a small percentage of its attendees is just very unfair. It's something that I did used to do in the past, but I've stopped it now. And basically not. Why
aren't you a hero? All right, let's skip through. Like how he just responds with, "You're an idiot. Have a good one." Just like you said that every single person on the right branded as a fascist when they're not. It doesn't help. Fascists make up a teeny tiny percentage of the right. Whenever the right does anything, they all get called fascists. You're an idiot. Have a good one. It could have ended there. It could have, Seth, you could have respectively, picked up your coffee and left your joint, what have you. But unfortunately, you kept going. Was hoping to have a decent conversation about this, but I can see you are too far gone. Shame. Big fan of your movies from back in the day. Oh well. Wow. He's been cordial. Like, he wants more interactions with Seth Rogen. Oh man, I've tried that route. You simply don't live in reality. I feel like both parties are saying the same thing. I do that route all the time and it works very well. Daryl Davis has the sort of proven that can actually talking with people works instead of demonizing and attacking them. And the idea that your non-facts are as valid as actual facts is something I can't humor. True. If he's got the time. What facts did you present? You just called the entire right-wing fascist. You were acting like, what facts did you present? Well, you're not answering the first part. You are acting like you know the thoughts and opinions of people that you admitted you don't even speak to. I don't call the entire left-wing communist based on Antifa. They make up a tiny amount of the left. It's going to be really disturbing when he finds out what the third arrow is for, by the way. When did I call the entire right-wing fascist? The calls for unity are between the left and the right, not fascist, but left and right. That's been said on both sides of the spectrum. When you tweet, why the fuck should we unite with fascists? That paints the entire right-wing as fascist. I don't want riots and lootings and police brutality continuing. Any politician who tried to overturn this election is supporting fascism. No one asserts the calls for unity with what some small group of fascists. The calls for unity, the ones that have gotten the most traction, have been the ones that come from Biden and other senators. Do you know what fascism is? Seth, well, yes, that is pretty fucked. That's not what fascism is. I feel like this is two people just speaking past each other. This is two people just running past each other. There's no cohesive conversation going on. But you're not answering. You're not answering a lot of the questions. There's a lot of gold posting here. How old are you? Yes, I do. This feels very similar to my conversations with Count Dankula, to be honest. And its definition is not everything is right-wing. It's extreme government regulation over absolutely everything based around ultra-nationalist themes. The funny thing about North Korea is it's actually closer to fascism than it's communism. How old are you? Still answering my question. Age shouldn't matter, Seth. 'Tis but a number. I'm 33, really. It's only 5 years younger than you. I'm older than Count Dankula. It's only 5 years younger than you before you try to use that as an age against me. Seth, you work in Hollywood. I live in a big mansion. I've literally been a politician, and I've been a political activist since I was 16. Oh my. I'm disagreeing with you because you were wrong. I'm trying to go down the route of he's disagreeing with me, so he must look stupid. This is weird though, because like when I was debating Count Dankula, he was a comedian. Like he's first and foremost a comedian, and this happens to be a matter of free speech and comedy. Well, I guess you can both be a comedian and a political activist. That's true. We'll take that away. I'm disagreeing with you because you were wrong and trying to look down the route of he's disagreeing with me, so he must be stupid. It's some pretty brutal elite narcissism. Look, sorry, I'm not a big Hollywood star like yourself, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. If overturning an election you lost isn't fascism, what is it? Also, nice tweet. Also, I don't think you're stupid for disagreeing with me. I think you're stupid for teaching a pug Nazi salute and being surprised when people were mad about it. Haha, that is very stupid. Oh, Seth, I thought you didn't know what he was about. Or maybe he learned about it in the interim. No, it was an offensive joke. People get mad over offensive jokes. That's sort of how they work. What I get mad about is being arrested over made a clear joke. I've never demeaned people who found the joke funny or to like the joke. That's not how jokes work. All I want to know is not to be arrested to go through a 2-year trial over it. I mean, dude, you have a whole career over making offensive jokes. Shit, you had a whole country come after you for offending them. It's also true. Huh. This is weird. This is weird because, you know, for the most part, Count Dankula is just woefully wrong about, you know, he's refusing to define fascism, which happens frequently. All the things that people define Trump as being a fascist for. Like, I'll fully agree with the argument that people throw that word around all the time on both sides of the aisle, whether it's conservative, Republican, liberal, lefty, righty, uppy, downy, twirly, saucy. Doesn't matter what you are. People are constantly like, well, you're the fascist. No, you're the fascist. That's fascism. That's fascism. I couldn't, you know, I didn't get my chai latte in time. The barista's a fascist. That's true. But if you go down the list of things in fascism, you know, the overreach of the government, usually in the form of trying to bail out corporations that have failed under capitalism, taking advantage of this moment in history to then vilify a single group, to harken back to the good old days, the Make America Great Again days, or in the case of Mussolini, the Roman era, the wanting to return to that, dissenting of the media, calling the media liars, the Lugenpress, things of that, silencing the media, coalescing around that, the rise in the vilification of people and othering, if you will. When you ran down the list, things were happening more and more. There was just more and more check marks under Trump. Like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And eventually lying and galvanizing everyone to the point that they felt the need to rise up and insurrect. Like, this isn't going to be a play-by-play. Like, every single fascist coup is going to look the exact same. And guess what? There's a lot of people on the left who are not convinced to this day that this was fascism or even close to fascism. Like, for example, Ben Burgess is one of those individuals, someone who I consider a colleague, a friend. I like talking to Ben, but at the same time will be the first person to say, no, I do not believe that Donald Trump was fascistic. I do not believe that this was a rise of fascism. But I don't think that there's going to be an exact copy and paste of this every single time. We live in a very different age now than we did, you know, in World War II, in you know, the 1930s, when all of this was coalescing. So to say that it's going to be the exact same thing, no, you're not going to get the exact same moments. You're not going to get the exact same history. But it wasn't just like this was the fascist event, the January 6th. That's when it was fascist. Before then, he was just a right winger, you know, and a shitty president. But when that happened, that was the fascism. That's when it turned on. We flipped the switch to fascism, not, you know, the gassing his own citizens, or you know, the propaganda that he was constantly fueling and pushing, not the begging people indiscriminately off the streets with no recourse. We didn't know if they were police or military or secret police or Gestapo, what have you, you know. Okay. So what you did must have been particularly stupid. No, that's because my country doesn't have freedom of speech. We don't have a constitution. I was charged for being grossly offensive. Are you a Jewish person? No, I am not. Have you seen the video? Then you're either someone who's not funny, has astonishingly bad judgment, or most likely both. I have. You're not funny. I work in the sphere. And if it breaks your country's laws with regard to hate crimes, you're an even bigger idiot. That's gotta be weird. If you're an aspiring comedian, to hear your hero telling you that, like, you're not funny. It's like, oh God. It's like literally ripping it from my heart. I did a US tour, plus I managed to hit 800,000 subscribers. Oh no, are you flexing? Are you flexing, Count Dankula? Oh no. I did a US tour, plus managed to hit 800,000 subscribers on my YouTube. Oh, lots of people seem to find me funny. Maybe I could be on your level one day by making all my jokes. Dude, weed, LMAO. Good one. There's that humor. Sorry, I'm not a big major Hollywood hotshot. I take joy in knowing that you're sparing some time to speak to a lowly pleb like me. I speak to people who aren't famous Hollywood people all the time, almost exclusively, haha. Oh wow, and then comes the rage posts. Then you just, oh wow, multiple rage posts. Oh. Hopefully, not like this. You seem to think that the possibility that you could be wrong is such an out there concept. Just peak narcissism. Instead of going after my actual political argument, which were the point of this, instead you tried to go after my comedy and my other works, which didn't really have anything to do with this. Look, I don't get it. You don't like me. You hate my comedy, which you don't like. Even watch, blah, blah, I get it. I wanted to have a chat about your opinions and how they were wrong. I didn't want to start shit with you. I wanted to talk. Seth, oh, now I feel bad for him. Look, I would love for the right and left to come together and work things out. You clearly don't want that, and I can't change your mind on that. You big, me, small, so let's just have it at that. Look, in terms of this beautiful, almost Disney-esque version of the political sphere. I mean, it sounds lovely. I would love us all to join hands and emanate love and rainbows from our hearts and all that wonderful Care Bear stuff. I think it would be beautiful, to say the very least. But we unfortunately live in a very polarized time, and one of the problems is that we have gone into pushing so many different ideas, so much, like the conspiracies that propagate on the internet and grow and develop, like the fact that QAnon became a mass cult / delusion of so many Americans. That is a huge problem. And that is a multifaceted problem, one in which there's not an easy solution, one in which there's a lot of complicit actors, including social media, absolutely, including all the big tech, your Jack Dorseys or your Mark Zuckerbergs, all of them. There is a problem with that. A much bigger problem, of course, being the for-profit motive driving these companies, these tech companies that control our entire social interactions with each other, and the profit motive, yes, saw fit to increase the amount of incendiary stuff on the internet because that got more clicks. And more clicks generates more revenue, and more revenue generates more shareholder value. So yeah, there was a massive problem with that. And the fact that these mass solutions got propagated, I think there's a lot more to be said about all that and the actual mechanisms that are driving all these forces than there is about whether or not some of your friends who were there that day were not fascists. I'm sure they're not. I'll be totally honest. If I'm being generous here, if I'm being good faith, I'm sure that the people that Count Dankula were talking to were conservatives on the ground, and what they were probably like, hey, this is awesome, you know, we're taking our country back. Yeah, maybe they weren't even in the Capitol building. If they were in the Capitol building, I mean, you're pretty much you're fornicating with criminals there, Count Dankula. I mean, you got to be careful about what you reveal. But anyways, if it was just people who were there at the protests from the outside watching in, most likely, yeah, they were just right-wingers, conservatives who were like, I feel like my election has been stolen. I bought into this mass delusion. And I agree that it's kind of sad that we live in a time when both sides scream past each other rather than trying to find common ground, because at the end of the day, there's probably a lot of common ground to be had. That being said, if people have gone to such a degree where they're willing to commit acts of violence, they're willing to smash buildings, they're willing to smash into government buildings, they're willing to take people hostage, plant pipe bombs, they're willing to kill. They're actually willing. People died. Not just people who were shot by the cops. Like, people died. Like, they have gone so far that they are now actively willing to commit bodily harm to other individuals in order to achieve their political goals. I mean, we're crossing over into terrorism now. And yeah, in this case, it was taking the form of fascism as well. Fascism's not a political party, all right? Fascism's an ideology. So you could have a right-wing party that isn't fascistic. Yeah, that is entirely possible. And the individuals who drank the Kool-Aid, who were that far gone, yeah, some of them were. Some of them definitely were. As a Jewish person, a comedian, and someone who lives in America and believes in democracy, I don't have enough respect for you to continue to talk to you. Good talk. Was that the end of it? I don't think so. Also, if you were actually funny, you would have taught a goose to goose step. It was a pug I taught to do it. Part of the joke were that Nazis considered themselves to be the master race, but pugs are a genetic abomination. This is wild. What a world we have, where right now Seth Rogen is helping Count Dankula with his Nazi comedy. is helping his 2021. It's full of surprises. Well, Count Dankula, I mean, he's famous now. I guess this was, long story short, this was a case of never meet your heroes. Never meet your heroes. That's it. You know? Kill your heroes. Starring Count Dankula. If you want us to advertise your channel or work, please go to weareserfs.com and email us a 20 to 30 second ad, and we'll take it on to the end of one of our videos to help promote your leftist channel or progressive something. Whatever you do.
To our gods, An-Ra, Xander Corvus, Schlatsky, we look to the stars for your divine guidance. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are merely puppets for your amusement. To our lords, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Hans Josephine, Ryan Lubin, Timothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr., bisexual black gamer, and Tofox, we shall carry your banner into the fog of war. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Jimmy Bignuts, Andreas Chiringuito, Yoppie, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Radical Maniac, The Great Pudini, Kale Kotka, Anthropophagic, Serene42, Chronic de Hemphog, Phone Jenny, Incosin, Constance Joyce Lacheris, and Ramon Acosta. We drink with you and we salute you.